Harrison Graham, Tom Downey here on NFL Daily. Let's take a look at a Falcons hot board, some candidates that could replace Dan Quinn / Raheem Morris in Atlanta.
It's still Dan Quinn.
It's still Dan Quinn because Morris is the interim. Maybe he's on this list. Tom put together 10 candidates, and we will get to those in just a second. Of course, today's show is presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat. Get 20% off plus free shipping at checkout. The Lawnmower 3.0, the perfect package, all of their items, 20% off when you go to manscaped.com/chat. But, Tom, the Atlanta Falcons, they're going to be looking for a new head coach.
And this is a very, I'm going to say, potentially intriguing job because Atlanta's kind of at a pivotal offseason. They can choose to go all in and say, we're going to try and win with Matt Ryan, win with this older core, Julio Jones, etc., and we think we're close, which is clearly what the old regime thought. Or, with a potential top 5 pick, they can go, we got to take our quarterback of the future. Or even try to do both things at the same time, which I guess is certainly plausible. So I am very curious to see who they hire as GM and what angle they choose to attack when it comes to potential head coaches.
So let's take a look at your list, Tom. At number 10, Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator for the Saints. You're going a defensive name here.
Yeah, look, I almost went Dan Campbell. I almost went Pete Carmichael. We're going to update this board once the Falcons end up making a decision in terms of what GM they go with. They've been linked, I'm going to pronounce the last name wrong probably, but Terry Fontenot, who's the Saints, one of their underlings, like number 2, number 3 guy. If they hire him, going with an Allen, a Campbell, or Carmichael makes some sense. So GM head coaching matters, like that relationship. Once we know the GM, I think we'll have a better insight on the job, but they're going to be looking at both kind of at the same time here.
We'll take a look at an offensive candidate here, a guy who's been mentioned in job openings the last year or two, I would say, but is Byron Leftwich, the former NFL quarterback, ready to take that jump?
I feel bad mentioning this, but with the way the NFL is hired, I feel the need to do it. An interview of Byron Leftwich would also help partially fulfill the Rooney Rule requirement. So you'll see guys like him, Jim Caldwell, Marvin Lewis, all get interest. Which
Marvin Lewis is the new Rooney Rule interview.
I would much rather go with a Byron Leftwich over those guys. He's younger. I've been more impressed by his success in terms of promise so far.
It seems like him and Tom Brady have connected better than Arians
and
Brady.
Which matters.
Yeah.
Look, he's only 40. He's only spent 2 years, though, as the Bucs offensive coordinator. I'm not convinced he's ready to be a head coach, but interviewing matters. If Leftwich interviews well and lays out his plan, that's how you know you actually have the right head coach.
Big fan of Leftwich wind-up throws back in the day, by the way, at the quarterback position. Matt Campbell will go to the college ranks here. Iowa State, you got him at number 8.
I like Matt Campbell. He is kind of in the Matt Rule category right now where he's at a lesser Big 12 program. The NFL loves him. College top-tier teams really view him as a promising young coach as well. Is the Falcons' job the right one for him? I'm not sure locale-wise, but look, I've been impressed with Campbell. Consistently winning 7 or 8 games at Iowa State.
Just took him to their first conference title game in like 100 years or something like that. Not even exaggerating, was a drive away from winning that game. It's scary how similar him and Rule's paths are. Wake up a Group of 5 program, Toledo, just like Rule did at Temple. Revive a Big 12 program, Iowa State, Baylor, same deal. Now the NFL
Can
and
you
Power
revive
5
it if you were
level.
never alive in the first place?
How about build it?
Sure.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
He's built it at Iowa State. He's doing a good job. If he wants a job, he's probably going to get it very, very soon. So who should the Falcons hire, Tom? We got 7 more candidates to take a look at, but we'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get the YouTube ad break, go ahead and let us know who should the Falcons hire as their next head coach. They could, of course, go with the interim head coach, and that is Raheem Morris.
I don't like this idea. You have to mention it. Raheem Morris is going to get an interview here in some capacity.
He deserves an interview.
I think that's fair. Like giving him a chance to say, okay, you know what, you helped us out. You took over as the interim. We're going to at least give you that courtesy interview type of style.
I think they've played harder since he's taken over personally.
And 4-6 is not bad.
No.
They've also lost 4 games in a row. Now, all of those games have been by 4 points or less.
These young hoes ain't loyal.
Jeez, Harrison. But in the end, I don't think this is a good hire. This is too much of the same thing. You fired your GM and your head coach because you wanted something new.
Fresh regime.
You have to totally reset it. Am I down if I'm a different NFL team to explore Morris or ever bring him on as a DC? Sure. But if you're Atlanta, you got to go with a new regime. You got to get a full reset in there. Promoting the interim isn't going to fix it in the long term. It's a short-term Band-Aid that's not going to have any major long-term impacts.
Elsewhere in the NFC South, Joe Brady, who's a name that few NFL fans need to keep in mind over the next several years, took Joe Burrow and that LSU offense to insane heights in 2019, and I think he's done some good things with Teddy Bridgewater in this offense in Carolina.
I've been impressed by Joe Brady, and this does not mean that he's ready to be an NFL head coach. Dude's 31 years old.
So young.
But what we know about the NFL is that when you've got a promising young offensive mind and a promising young defensive mind, offensive mind gets the promotion.
Yes.
Because the NFL is an offensive-focused league, and that is what they're going to prioritize. So if you think you can get the next Kyle Shanahan, you got to go do it.
Yeah.
And there might be some learning on the job in terms of being a head coach, opposed to just being a full-time play caller. But I think it's definitely worth an interview to Brady to help gauge where is he at in his development as a coach.
Before we get into our top 5 candidates for the Falcons head coach opening, go over to Manscaped, manscaped.com/chat, 20% off and free shipping. Get the perfect package, Tom. This thing comes with all kinds of stuff. The Lawnmower 3.0, ball toner, ball deodorant, the most comfortable boxers, which we just showed you guys on screen. It's insane. And you got this travel kit, too, that's going to fit all of that stuff, plus your toothpaste, your cologne, whatever you want to take with you when you are traveling, when you're out and about. Yeah, who wears contacts? It's 2020.
People with bad eyes.
Manscaped.com/chat, 20% off and free shipping. The Lawnmower 3.0, of course, is the best men's grooming tool out there. No razor tug, no burn down there. You might get tugged later if you know what I'm saying. Manscaped.com/chat. Get that 20% off and free shipping at checkout. Let's take a look at your top 5 here, Tom. Robert Saleh, the 49ers DC. Quite frankly, I think it's long overdue for him to get a gig.
I don't know about long overdue, because I'm old enough to remember when, back in 2018, he was on the hot seat as the Niners defensive coordinator. Then he had a great 2019 and has had more than, I think, expected success with a very banged-up defense this year. He might be the best DC in the NFL. Now, maybe there's some concern about going from another defensive mind to another defensive mind. I also think the Lions make a lot of sense for him as a head coach. Why he's a little bit lower on this list than if we were just power ranking best candidates. But I'm trying to find the most likely outcome here for the Falcons as best as we can here in late December, where stuff's going to change as we get further and further along in this process.
So there are a lot of good candidates, I think, that are going to be available in this cycle. Saleh and Eric Bienemy, we'll get to him probably in a minute. Stay tuned. And some other names as well. What is the best head coach candidate in this cycle?
Who is the best head coach candidate in this cycle?
Let us know.
In general, it's a tough question to answer because the data points we use to help hire head coaches are mostly how good of a play caller you are, which isn't necessarily the best attribute for being a leader and being the head coach. So it's tricky, but I'm actually going to go with Brian Daboll, who we'll get to in a little bit.
Not Daboll yet. Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator for Indianapolis.
I think he's an under-the-radar guy. The Colts defense took a bit of a step back amid some injuries, but overall, they've been way better than I think most people thought they were going to be. Now, defensive coaches don't get a lot of chances. But from a coaching tree that is very unique and diverse, I think Eberflus has had a lot of different styles and elements folded into his defensive scheme. So when it comes to that side of it, I think he's good. He's liked by players, too. I think that matters for being head coach.
I think the key for any defensive-minded head coach candidate, probably moving forward and on forever, A, can you sell organizations on your leadership attributes, and B, can you convince them that you're going to hire the right OC? Those are the two things that matter. That'll be important for Eberflus in this cycle. Eric Bienemy, a guy that Andy Reid has publicly endorsed for about 2 years now. You've got him at number 3.
I would argue should be number 1 on almost every team's list based on what we know in terms of what he's done on the field, the way the coaches and players speak about him. There's some off-the-field stuff from a long time ago that I don't think is that relevant, but I am trying to answer, why hasn't this guy been hired yet? Because he gets a lot of support from players and coaches. He fits what teams are looking for. The Andy Reid coaching tree in general has been pretty solid. Why hasn't he been hired? Maybe it's the off-field stuff. I think he might just be a bad interviewer. That might be a core problem there. I think Houston, though, the Texans, they make a lot of sense for him.
I also think Bienemy, I think he might be a little picky, too. He knows he's going to have opportunities. Number 2, we mentioned him earlier, Brian Daboll from Buffalo.
I like him a lot. And, look, Josh Allen gets plenty of credit on his own for the growth he has shown over 3 years. One of the best glow-ups of all in 2020 this year for Allen. I think Brian Daboll, the scheme and the way this is easy to say Just maximize your players, fit the scheme to your players. But coaches don't do that.
Yeah.
They come in, they go, we're going to run our scheme. They will sell you on, I'm going to fit my scheme to your players. We'll make it all work. And they just fit the scheme.
Shout out Scott Linehan.
Exactly. They don't actually adjust. Brian Daboll has proven he's done it at multiple different stops. Done a fantastic job with Buffalo. Saban, Belichick disciple. I'm a huge fan of his.
Before we get to Tom's top candidate, get subscribed to Chat Sports. If you're just an NFL fan and you want to take a look at all of our hot boards, we've done several of them. We did a Falcons list a long time ago. Of course, the Texans, we've updated our list there as well. Matt Patricia replacements. Detroit's got to hire a new head coach and a GM as well. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. And by the way, what do they call that Monday after Week 17?
Black Monday.
Black Monday. It's coming. There's going to be some openings, which means we're going to make videos on it. Get subscribed and turn on your notifications. A bit of a surprise when I saw you put your list together, but remember, Tom is ranking it based on what he thinks is most likely. The Titans OC, Arthur Smith.
I'm shooting my shot, knowing you guys will all forget about it in just a couple weeks anyway. I think Daboll ends up maybe in like a Jacksonville or New York with a young first-year quarterback. Bienemy ends up in Houston. Robert Saleh ends up with the Detroit Lions. So those are three of your best options there. I'll go with Arthur Smith, the Titans offensive coordinator. That offense and quarterback Ryan Tannehill, too, have grown significantly with Smith running the show. I've heard some whispers the Falcons like him and they're going to interview him. I'll put him at number one for now.
I like what he's been able to do with Ryan Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, that offense is a little bit different from what most teams are doing. But, hey, he says, I got a 240-pound running back who runs like a deer. I'm going to feed him. I don't think that's a bad thing.
What if you just hire Arthur Smith, take a quarterback or whatever in round one, and then just draft Najee Harrison round two? Who says no?
The Tennessee Falcons.
I just fixed the Atlanta Falcons just like that.